Hey, how's it going? My name is Keaneu and today I'll be talking to you guys about my independent project. Okay, before we get started, let me talk to you guys about the 21st century skills that I covered over the course of this project. 1. Thinking and problem solving. 2. Communication skills. And 3. Self-correctional skills. I'll explain these a little later at the end of the video. So I guess you can say I bit off a little more than I can chew. At the beginning, I wanted to make an actual film. My original question I wanted to ask for this project was, how could I utilize video editing software at my school to create a short film? Because at first, I wanted to make an actual film, which involved a lot of guns and special effects, which we all know is not school appropriate. I got started making a script, a storyboard, and a list of characters I wanted to be in my film, but I came across a few problems. Number 1, the creation of my film was based in a school environment, as well as it had guns and shooting and all of the special effects that I can use to create a video. But like I said in the beginning, it wasn't school appropriate, so I couldn't use it. And I figured this out a little later after I made the whole script, the storyboard, and the list of characters I needed. Which brings us to number 2. Getting enough characters was a big problem. I sent out email after email, I sat down and called people, I even used Facebook. Trying to contact everyone was very frustrating and time consuming, and I didn't get very many replies. But did I give up? I did. Realizing the amount of time I had, which was only about 3-4 months, I knew I would not be able to finish this project. Which led me to a new question. How can we utilize the software at our school? I know most of the people at my school are always going to use PowerPoint or use a website to create a project. Yeah, this is good, but you can get a lot more creative. For example, make a video. We have all these programs at our disposal, which include all of the Adobe Master Collection. During class, I'll just mess around with After Effects or Premiere Pro and learn a bit about video editing. Did you see that title sequence at the beginning? Mexi Productions. That title sequence was created by Adobe After Effects. It's a great program and you can do a lot with it. So let's turn you over to the other video so I can show you how to make a title sequence in After Effects CS4. Hey guys, today I will be showing you how to use After Effects to create a title sequence. So first thing you're going to do, you're going to go into Adobe Master Collection, CS4. Go up to After Effects. Okay, so after it's done loading, we're going to make a new composition. Let's call this composition Mexi Production. So now you have your window to view what you're editing and what you're making. So we're going to create a new text layer. Let's do Mexi Productions. Go ahead and highlight that. Then you can always scale it up larger. So let's go down to New, Solid. We're going to go into Effect, Lens Flare, and put Mexi Productions over the top of it. Let's go ahead and make this different color. So we'll go to 4 color. Don't ask me. Okay, but the first thing I'm going to do, bring this to the middle. And then let's go back up to our lens flare. I'm going to go down to our lens flare, lens type. We can do 35mm prime, or my favorite for purple 105mm prime, which makes it blue. Let's make this a bluish. So the first thing we're going to do with the lens flare is change its center. So with lens flare, let's bring it center. down, and it's gonna sweep across Mexi Stash Productions and end right over here. So what you're gonna do with that, select Flare Center, add keyframe, drag over this, and drag this over to where it comes right about there. What this keyframe does is it lets our lens flare move across the screen. So after we have for about 3 seconds, we're gonna go up to Mexi Stash Productions. We're gonna add a linear wipe. So we're gonna go up here, linear, grab a linear wipe, and we're gonna drop it right down on Mexi Stash Productions. So now we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna hit U twice on the keyboard after you highlight your source. Hit U twice. Once we have our animation present on, so let's see if this pops back up on our, we have effects, we got linear wipe, so let's get rid of linear wipe 2. Now we're gonna go up to our wipe angle, we're gonna do it on -90. That's what we want. So now we're going to add a feather to that so it doesn't look so sharp. Add a feather to it. Effect. Generate. Now we're going to go to CC light rays. After you bring this down, we have little light rays coming through our text, and this is going to follow the center of our lens flare. Like I said, it's going to follow our lens flare, so we're going to change the center. Add keyframe, move this over to about there. Then we're going to move our CC light rays to about there. Adds a keyframe down here. Now we're going to see what that looks like and make some adjustments as needed. So after this, we're going to make the intensity of the lens flare very intense. We're going to go lens flare brightness. Then we're going to hit frame, move this to about 6 seconds, and you can see how much you're moving it right up here. Go lens brightness. Then we're going to go lens brightness. Let's make this 200%. We're going to have a lens flare that comes out and pretty much erases our text to a fine white. So as you can see, you can still see the text. So what we're going to do is go up to Mexi Stash Productions. We're going to do our linear wipe. We're going to add another keyframe onto it. So we're going to do transition complete. Add keyframe. Right now it's complete. Be gone. So then we're going to add another keyframe. This time it's going to be 100% complete. And now let's see what we have. So we have Mexi Stash Productions, have our lens flare. That's wiping away our text. And it goes into a solid white. So that looks pretty perfect. So, from getting back from what we just learned, you can put the title sequence from After Effects into Premiere Pro, which you then use to cut and add different clips in to get your final product. So why would you just make a boring old PowerPoint or a boring old website when you can make and put together a video? It'll be a lot more entertaining for your viewers. Test the different programs we have at our school. Do something new, learn something new, and improve when you do it. Okay, so there is 3 21st century skills that I want to talk to you. So, let's start off with the first one. Thinking and problem solving. There are many parts that go into thinking and problem solving, and one of those parts being the ability to analyze parts of a whole that interact with one another that produce an outcome. While working on this project, I noticed that there was a lot of things that had to be done first before you can make the actual film. And I guess that goes for any work you're doing. There's always those little things that don't seem to do very much, but without them, you wouldn't have your project. It's just like a puzzle. If you don't have one little puzzle piece, you won't finish your puzzle. So another one of these 21st century skills is interpret information and draw a conclusion based on the analysis. I seem to learn this one the hard way. I realized the amount of work outweighed the amount of time. Like I said, I didn't finish my original project, so I drew a conclusion. And that was to give up my old idea and start something new. That was more feasible. So the last part of this 21st century skill that I want to talk about is reflect critically on your learning process and experience. Even though I gave up, I learned a lot of new things. I figured out how to write a script, a full storyboard, the ability to use After Effects, understanding how much time is needed to put into a project this large. So, 21st century numero dos. Like the other 21st century skill, it involves a lot of different parts. And the part I paid most attention to was sending a message. Sending an effective message requires you to state your point briefly and succinctly as possible. Because listening to a person that's talking and very unorganized is very boring. And also another part of the communication skills is being important with your consistency. If you want to get stuff done, you have to be consistent. And I wasn't very consistent with calling people or emailing them. If I sent out a lot more emails, I probably would have got more replies. One of the biggest problems I had was getting characters for my movie. So let's talk about the last 21st century skill. You guessed it. Self-directional skills. So a part of this self-directional skills, the learner must select and carry out their own learning goals, objective, methods and means to verify their goals are met. Did I do this? Yeah, but not really. I did come up with a goal and an objective that I wanted to complete, but didn't have the time to meet my goals. This is due to a lot of problems I had with finding a camera, being able to edit my video, and waiting to get people to be part of my film. So that's my 21st century skills. I hope I covered most of it. But this whole video is put together just to tell you guys how I didn't meet my goal, but how I did learn something along the way. So don't make the same mistake I did, and take it one small step at a time. Don't take on a project too large that you can't handle it and won't finish it in time, and gradually work your way up. You're gonna have huge problems along the way, so expect that and take that into consideration when you're making a project, or you're gonna mess up big. So, thank you guys for watching. Special thanks to Miss Zayas for letting me borrow her camera. Without it, you wouldn't have a video. Neither would I.